Let us begin this session, and it's a session with a lot of new features. First of them will be dedicated to semantic result formats, and the main developer of semantic result formats, Jeroen, will talk about this right now.
Okay. Well, I might be the guy that's maintaining the extension, but the features I will be presenting have basically all been added by other people, especially a guy called MWJames, who wrote this presentation. So all the credits there go to him. I'm just giving it for him since he could unfortunately not make it to the conference. And he actually also created most of the new awesome features that the presentation is about. Yeah. So last year we were at version 1.6 point something. We've seen 2 big releases since then. Both releases saw quite a bit of new formats, especially the later one, added by many different people. One of the most exciting ones, in my opinion, is the filtered one, about which Stefan will talk after my talk here. But yeah, so this presentation will just include demos about most of these formats, and yeah. Yeah, this is just the amount of lines of code in semantic forms, semantic result formats over the last year, so you can see stuff has been happening here. The plots have been improved a lot. You can see some examples here. Oh yeah, by the way, this nice slideshow thingy you're seeing here, which I've also used before, is actually a result format called page widget. If you go to the page, which I perhaps recommend you do, so you can follow the examples, you can just find it on the page, the talk page on the wiki, and you can also find it via bit.ly/alsaraf-18. You will see if you edit the page that it's just the ask query here that pulls in the content from other pages and then displays it in this thing. Yeah. So now we have different charting tools, and we have stuff for just simple data and more complex data, depending on what you want. This is a nice overview of which kind of different visualizations they each support, right? And there are quite a bit of visualizations here that weren't there before. Just some examples here. Pretty self-explanatory. And they are also interactive to some extent, most of them, so which is always nice, right? More formats, and yeah. For instance, with these ones, you can disable one of the lines. That's just the example of the interactivity. Yeah, so I disabled the orange line here. And you can do the same with most of the charts, and well, even more formats, right? And so yeah. Yeah, it's if you hover over it, you get the coordinates on the graph. I don't actually. I'm not really sure. I never used it myself yet. But yeah, could be. Just look at the source. I mean, there are a lot of examples on the wiki now. The semantic result formats documentation actually moved to the MWJames, so we can now have all our examples work. And there are quite some nice examples, so I definitely recommend checking out the semantic result formats page, which now also lists all the formats using our own outline format, which is nice. Yeah, question?
Do you know whether this data eventually attempt to do some API before this display, or is this only client?
This is using the JQ plot library, and as far as I know, this is all client side. This is not sent somewhere else. Yeah. And James introduced the concept of color schemes, which you can now define yourself, and there are 30 predefined schemas, which you can use with various of the new or already existing and then improved formats, including these ones that I already showed. So you can here just see that it's very easy to set a color scheme to something else and then get, yeah. Yeah, it's a parameter. Yeah, and the result format documentation uses an automatic documentation generation feature for the parameters. So all the parameters in the formats are documented on our wiki. So it's a nice reference we have now. This is one of my favorite new formats. Yeah, high performance. And well, it looks very cool. I just showed the demo. This is very nicely interactive. So, and you can do many fancy things with it, such as zooming in over a certain region. So I can do this, and I can zoom back out. I can choose to only display one of the things. This is using the new tooltip thing, by the way. And you can update how it's averaged. So you can get it more like this or like this.
Question, are all these data points on the wiki that you use?
So this particular format is, as far as I looked at it, uses CSV. So there's the wiki page holding CSV data somewhere, and you can then also query additional information, such as the labels of the points. I've not completely figured out myself how it works, because I didn't have time to look at all of the awesome new stuff there is here. Oh, yeah, this links to the page, yes, with the CSV data. Yeah.
Actually, MWJames means with us remotely, and we just told that we should point to the result. It's all the data on the wiki.
Okay. Right.
How do you get it there? I mean, what's the workflow? I mean, you wouldn't type that amount of data in the wiki.
No, it's just importing it, right, and putting it there.
That CSV format that we just had here.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, this is another example with many data points, and unless I'm mistaken, these titles here actually come from properties that are queried. One more nice example with that shows that you can have multiple lines, and of course, yeah, can still choose which ones you want to display. And the chart nicely updates its height and stuff, so I think this is a very fancy format. Oh, yeah. I think during the last SMWCon, there was some discussion about how you can actually visualize certain information in line, because this is a bit difficult. And for this, we now have the Sparkline format, which allows you to display such nice, small little graphs in some text somewhere or on one line of info box. And they are actually also interactive. So if you hover over them, you can get the data. So yeah, these are more charts. I think I'll just show you the examples. So these are using the D3DS library. And I think it was on an earlier slide that I just forgot to mention is that we used to have 4 or so third-party libraries last year, and now we have somewhere near 15. So that just shows how much additional functionality we've had in the meanwhile, and how easy it is to do this. So yeah, this is a pretty simple query, and you can see all the parameters are also available there, and you can see how many parameters this thing has, so you can really customize this charts a lot. This is a big difference with the charts we used to have like 2 years back, where you could maybe do the width and the height, and that was about it, right? You couldn't even change the colors. Yeah, it's just amazing how many new great formats we have now. For instance, this thing here is another format we have now, which does slideshows and stuff, and it's used all through our wiki for documentation purposes. I think we actually have a slide about it somewhere later. This is another nice one. So this shows the amount of downloads of SMW via SourceForge over time, and this is pretty nice. You can also just view the data in grid format, where you can sort it and filter on it. A more detailed demo of this later on. And this is also, of course, fully interactive. The gallery format has been there for quite a while, but now it has a lot of more options. Now you can display it as a carousel. So this is the old thing that we used to have, and well, the gallery format, right? But now it has many different faces. One of them being this one, which is carousel, so you can have many images without completely cluttering the page and having the options for the users to go through them if they want to. And the slideshow widget, which is used in this presentation itself quite extensively, that automatically goes through the images. And yeah, support here was added as well for getting the pop-up thing, so you can see the images in full size. Yeah. So if you're interested in any of these formats, definitely have a look at the presentation and at all the examples it links, and as well as just at the Semantic Results Formats documentation. James really did a great job here at providing very compelling examples. And this is one of the things you can convince your managers with of how nice SMW is, right? I mean, they might not understand the ask queries and what you can do with them, but with such nice visualizations, they might buy it then. The tag cloud format has also been there for quite a while, almost 2 years now, I think. And improvements made there are that it now supports templates, so you can further customize the actual tags, how they are displayed. And it also supports some other formats, as you can see here in the slideshow, but I'll just show the actual examples. So this is nice and interactive, where you can, well, this is a lot cooler than the old Decklot, I think. And of course, you can click on them and follow the links. And we also have this kind of cloud now. So yeah.
What do the links? What do I see here, and what do the links point to?
Well, I should be able to answer that since I originally wrote it, but
where does the size come from, first of all, and what do I get when all these articles? This is a page Germany on the wiki or what?
Yes, in this case it is. You can query different things on top of it, so you can. It don't need to be pages. Yeah, and the size is determined by the frequency of the words. So it.
In what?
So
Which text?
for instance, if you have now in our schedule we have talks, right? And each talk has a type, so you could query for talk types, and the type that has most talks associated with it will then be bigger. So it just counts.
So it's like aggregate over property value. So
yes, it's an aggregate.
Property value, and if many restarts have Germany as a property value, it will be bigger.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, I see.
This is, if I remember correctly, the first usage of our aggregate printer interface.
But then the bigger question is, what does Germany lead to? If there are many pages that have Germany as their value, what do you get when you click Germany here?
Germany.
It's also an okay.
Yeah.
So if these were okay, but you could also do that with numbers or strings.
Yeah, but then they would not be linked.
They have a link, okay.
Also, work was done on, well, we have our RSS printer in SMW, which is customly written, but not an Atom printer, and MediaWiki has these facilities for creating these feeds anyway, so why not use these? And that's exactly what the new syndication feed printer does, which is currently in semantic result formats. So it's extremely simple implementation using the MediaWiki internals. And you can get both RSS and Atoms feeds via it. I'm not sure how to exactly demo this, especially not on a box that's not mine. So feel free to play around with it yourself. We have a calendar format, but this one is way cooler. It's interactive and, well, it's also localized. And, well, here you see the schedule of the conference. And you can click on the different things and actually go to the associated page. So if I click here somewhere, it will actually open the talk. And yeah, you can just view it by day, per month, per week, and navigate. I think it's very neat, yeah. Oh my. Yes, this is the well, one of the well, this is a widget that allows you to group things. Let me just show the examples. So it allows grouping by your query results by letter. So here, this is just querying all our documentations, which you then can just view. And as you can see here, it even does the preview how many stuff there is in the particular category. And this is also available just as a pager, so you can page your results. So here it's paging by 5 results, and then you can go through them. And this is very much related to the page widget, which is the thing we're using here. You can see the example here is linking to itself. So this has already been adequately demonstrated, I guess. The incoming format is, it allows you to see the incoming properties in much the same way you can see incoming links. I've not used it myself, so I can't really explain the details if Marcus is going to ask about that.
I have reviewed that patch already, so I know the details.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a bit stranger or different. It's not just a way of displaying data, it's actually a different kind of data. You can't ask for incoming query properties. So it combines format and another type of semantic query functionality, so it's a bit different and difficult in that sense as well.
Yeah, still very cool nonetheless.
Yeah.
The Gridview format, I've already briefly showed it, but it's available as together with several other formats, and will later be available as its own format as well, I think. So you've already seen this one with the data here. Come on, internet. Right, so here you have another example of the digraphs format, where you can then see the data and filter. You can see it by groups. So here you have the two groups, which are reflected here. So yeah, and you can.
Not the points, but these are the labels that are additionally put onto that.
Yeah, the groups. Which you can also specify in the query somehow with additional parameters. And yeah, you can live filter on it and sort. So yeah. And this also comes with a link to the original query, so which takes you to ask, and then allows you to further edit the query or page for more results or whatnot. And this is also available for the charting formats, where the grouping might be more obvious. So here you have something grouped by subject. So here you can see the subjects, and this one is grouped by property, so then has it by property. And these things have full pagination, so if it doesn't fit all in there, you can go to the next results. Very nice and interactive. I already touched on the subject myself in the talk about writing SMW extensions. But since it's so easy and such a nice thing to do, writing result printers, we now have the nice documentation we have. And James went ahead and created a boilerplate result format, which you can just copy to start your own result format with, which has most of the things you tend to need in a result format with JavaScript and stuff. So yeah, definitely have a look at that if you want to write the result printer. So some of the planned results for the plans we still have are, maybe Stefan can talk about his formats as well that he added. JitGraph is currently deactivated, and James, he actually writes it here. Already worked on getting it back, but this is still sitting in code review. So perhaps we have it in our next release, or perhaps the one after that. Here, yeah, there will be a dedicated data tables format. And yeah, many other cool features with other libraries and just extending them.
Will it have the same functionality as graphics format?
As far as I know, these are two quite different libraries.
I mean, they both were representing graphs, edges and nodes.
Well, I'm not familiar with it, so please ask James.
I do.
Yeah, we also have a GraphViz format, which is not demoed here. I mean, we have many formats that are not demoed here because they were already there, and this is just covering the new formats. Yeah. And of course, it really depends on how the future of semantic result formats really depends on how much other people contribute. And James is giving a great example of how much one person can do. So, yeah. Yeah. I sort of had a talk or lightning talk about this particular subject at the last SMWCon here in Europe about the future of result formats. And what we basically would like to see is being stuff more interactive and changeable on the client. The things I've chosen are already a lot more interactive than the things we used to have. But stuff you're still not able to do is fetch additional data on page load, so continuation. I mean, if you have a list of items and you want more, you perhaps do not want to end up on special ask and have to click next, but just have it loaded immediately on the page. Or being able to remove a certain filter condition, actually changing your query and having it updated live. But this requires quite some infrastructure work. And well, we're thinking about this, and Stefan's filter format, which he'll demo shortly, does a great way in going in this direction. Okay, that's the presentation. If there are any questions, I can try to answer them. Of course, if you have any questions yourself, please just have a look at the documentations first, and then you can ask on the mailing list. I'm sure James will be happy to help you out if the documentation isn't clear enough yet. So yeah, any questions?
First of all, thank you.
And don't forget to thank James, because, well, he's the guy that really did the work.
I would just like to thank James. This is awesome. I mean, this is really jaw-dropping stuff, and I hope that by presenting it here, we will also get a lot more live examples of people using it, including on our own wiki. There's so many uses I can envision for this type of stuff. It's really great.
Just a comment. So now we have so many beautiful result formats. I think in terms of documentation, to get more people involved in Semantic MediaWiki and show its power, we should include them maybe on the examples in documentation, or create. We have already demo pages, maybe some kind of gallery of these demos. I think that would be beneficial.
Well, I think we already have nice hubs that link to the examples. These slides being one of them. I mean, it's on our wiki, right? You can just walk through it whenever you want. And yeah, I think the documentation we have and the examples are already extremely nice, especially compared to what we used to have. We used to just have some queries for some formats, example queries, and sometimes a screenshot. We've gotten a long way, so. Okay, if there are no further questions, then I'll hand over to Stefan.
By the way, general information, we may move the coffee break by a few minutes because we have, as you have seen, there was a new 30-minute talk squeezed in, which we didn't plan for originally. So that might be the consequence, but that shouldn't stop our coffee break.
This could be one solution to do this import. But further questions?
Yeah, so my question is, we have seen a way of annotating maps with polygons today, and now we see a way of annotating images with rectangles, and somehow there seem to be similarities, but then in the details you say for every rectangle you have an extra page, whereas in maps the approach is very different. So do you see chances of reconciling these various approaches?
Of course, when I listened to that particular talk, I was asking myself that same question. Well, maybe there is some opportunity to integrate them together. I've thought a bit about it, but the problem is that for a map is like something dynamic, and you use the coordinates of actual coordinates, and as with the extension that I developed, you basically use the upper left corner of an image as your origin, and then you have the coordinate space and something like this. Okay.
I mentioned that it's probably broken, and that China is working on this now. I think also there is some overlap there. I don't think it's worth trying to reconcile the two columns. The use cases are different, and I think that maps will involve code that's completely not relevant to images. I mean, if there is many complexity there, you don't have to images, so I think it's better off if it's separate.
True, but if we have a polygon data type, for example, that might
Yeah.
be useful in both directions. I mean, where's it fit, yeah.
How exactly is that polygon stored? Just as a set of coordinates, basically, right? For each point, and then you draw the lines.
Like currently there are 0 coordinates, maybe we have to take that one.
Yes. Okay. I'm sorry, I didn't get that.
There is an extension where there is a gadget in Commons. There is a gadget in Wikimedia Commons. It's a gadget image annotator, annotator, something like this. I don't know if you knew it. No? Take a look. Yeah, because I think you can get a lot of ideas, especially for the interface. Because I use in a wiki this image annotator, but what I miss is I could not link to properties and all this. And I think with that code you help a lot.
Okay, thanks for the pointer. I honestly I did not know that. I will definitely have a look, of course. Yeah, maybe there are some ideas that I can steal.